What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with 8 weeks out physique update from Sazan. So he's in the list of those guys who are gonna be making their Olympia debuts come October. And what an incredible journey Sazan had over the years. So he got totally disconnected from competitive bodybuilding after 2018. So he did not compete at all for 4 years consecutively. He downsized and he was focused on business side of things. So he came back last year to see how he does against the pros of this era. He did the Emperor Classic Spain and he placed 4th at that show, which was a very good showing by him. And afterwards he promised himself and also his fans that he's gonna come back and he's going to be improved enough to win a pro show this year. And not only did he do that, he won 2 shows, and it's so worth mentioning that we saw him having a real close call against a guy like Andrew Jack at FIBA Germany earlier this year. So Sazan was able to beat a guy like Regan Grimes at Toronto Pro this year, all because of his superior conditioning and his ability to get hot and dry and come in bone shredded, which is something that has always been a big weakness for Regan Grimes. And then he won the Emperor Classic Spain. So Saz is another guy who is expecting to place top 10 at his Olympia debut this year. And I have got to say, if the stars are aligned with him, he can achieve his goal. So Regan was top 9 back in 2023 and Saz did beat Regan, so it's possible. But it's also noticeable that Saz isn't gonna be among the biggest or the widest or the most aesthetic guy in this year's Olympia lineup. His conditioning, however, that will surely be amongst the best in the entire men's open this year. His quads from the front, they are simply world class. And going by his look right now, at 8 weeks out, it's pretty much clear that he's ahead of the schedule. So do you guys think Saz is gonna make top 10 at his Olympia debut this year? Before you scroll or blink too hard, have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am.
He's a big dude, but he has his visa, so he's definitely coming.
Oh, he's got his visa, good.
Chris Cormier just gave us a great news. So there were some question marks. Father Rubiel Mosquera aka Nexzilla, he's gonna be able to get his US visa to compete at the Olympia this year. Well, it turns out the man has already got one. So here we have another top 10 Olympia contender for this year. And out of all the guys who are setting up big expectations of cracking top 10, well, out of all of those, Rubiel actually has more of a realistic chance, especially if he nails his conditioning, if he comes in super dry. Just have a look how his physique transformed from Dubai Pro to Portugal Pro. Even his back, that seemed so much improved, especially in terms of the conditioning and the detail. And not just in the upper half, in the hamstrings and the glutes too. So Rubiel is a guy who can push the conditioning to a whole different level for this upcoming Mr. Olympia, as he still has a lot of room in that regard. The same thing people keep on saying about the reigning Olympia champion Samson Dauda. And Rubiel just has too much size and his ability to take up so much space on the stage that your eyes are just drawn towards him because he's a freak of nature. And that kind of mass, with decent aesthetics, with arguably some of the greatest freak factor that we have ever seen in the sport. So combine that with better conditioning, that is gonna be such a dangerous combination if Rubiel puts it all together. And let's just all give him the much deserved respect. The man just won 2 shows back to back, beating a guy like Nathan Diasha. And this guy is only 29 years old, which is simply insane considering how much muscle and freak factor this guy has. So if his quads ever get enough separation in them, especially from the front, that is gonna be such a big game changer for him. And this is something that will also shape his entire career in a totally different way. And he will become so much more dangerous. So we have seen all that hype around Quinton Beastwood joining forces with the reigning Olympia champion Samson Dauda for his upcoming show in Europe, when in fact there is another guy, Sergio Oliva Jr., who has been eyeing the European tour for months now. And honestly, he does look pretty damn awesome in all of his new physique updates. And with Quinton being the favorite in many people's eyes to win Italy Pro, Sergio Oliva Jr. can be the guy to challenge him, as he's someone who can match Quinton very well, as he's also a very tall guy and is also super wide. He takes up a lot of space on the stage. Now that being said, for Sergio to win this upcoming Italy show, he's gonna have to show up with a much bigger and a much improved back compared to what we saw at FIBA Germany, because that is that one area where he can expose a guy like Quinton, as Quinton lost both the back shots to Jordan Hutchinson and Joseph Palacios, both at Tampa Pro and Texas Pro. Now so far Sergio's prep, that has been going very awesome. But if we look at one of his back updates, where he posted a back lat spread, you can still see some imbalance in the lower lat. And that is because of that shoulder injury that he had last year. And that is actually one of the main reasons for that lat imbalance. So this is the biggest challenge Sergio has been facing since that shoulder tear, along with the pressing movements, especially for the chest. But that is something that he has fixed since FIBA Germany. So this is going to be Sergio's second prep with Stefan as his coach. And he has to win one of those shows, and that too at all cost. It has been more than 7 years since he won a show and stepped on the Olympia stage, and time is literally running out for him. So does anybody else also notice how Terrence's arms are looking so big in his most recent update? And to get you guys a context, you really have to go back to his first ever Olympia back in 2016, and how his arms were the weakest area on him, especially the biceps. And one of the biggest reasons Terrence skipped the Olympia last year, that was also because of that same problem. He was having an issue with his elbow, and that obviously was hindering his ability to train his arms properly. But this year has gone very smoothly for Terrence. He presented his all-time best at the Pittsburgh Pro and more at the New York Pro. And the greatest part is that he's improving at such a fast pace. He had no vacations, no real off time after winning 2 shows back to back. And we are about to see an upgrade version from Terrence Ruffin in 8 weeks time at the Olympia this year. So what sets Terrence apart from the rest of the competition? Well, him being the perfect classic physique. Because no matter how subjective this sport is, and no matter what your definition is of being classic, Terrence is gonna fit that criteria. So it will be interesting to see how much of that weight cap Terrence is able to fill out till the Olympia this year. Because as per him, he had roughly 6 more pounds before he hit his weight cap. Another full posing update by Rammon, in which the man is again looking so incredible. So let's just hope that the rumors are kinda false, that he has to drop another 12 to 15 pounds to make the weight cutoff for classic physique. Because if that is the case, it's gonna be so detrimental to his entire physique. So the good thing about Rammon this year is that this hasn't been a short prep. He was training hard all throughout this year, and that density thing that the judges kept on mentioning, which Rammon was missing in all the 3 shows that he did last year, that I believe will be back this time. But in order for him to win that Olympia title, he's gonna have to come in very dry, but at the same time, hard and full as a house. Now this is such an awesome look for Rammon, but the fact is he has to deplete more, and that is where the problem occurs for Rammon. Because let me ask you guys, is he looking the most ready guy at 8 weeks out of this year's Mr. Olympia? Well, potentially yes. Rammon has amazing V-taper, especially in the upper half, but he just simply doesn't have the most sweeping quads like Terrence Ruffin or Mike Sommerfeld or Evan Ors too. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out on the stage. So remember all these guys who are looking so insane weeks after the show, and Rammon also looked crazy good last year leading into the Olympia. But the man just simply spilled over, and that was enough for the judges to drop him down to 4th place. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.